Welcome to State Fair Community College Board of Trustee meeting. It's Thursday, February 26th, 2026. We welcome guests that are in the room and we'll be introduced to them eventually. So thank you for coming. I would like to have the approval of the agenda as presented.
Moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Passes. Lisa, do we have any citizens' comments?
We have no citizens comment.
All right, next on the agenda is the approval of the January 22nd, 2026 board meeting minutes that were published as well. I would entertain a motion.
Motion.
Second.
In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Motion passes. Next, we have Keith up with the warrant number 7 for 2026 January.
During the month of January 2026, the college dispersed $3,816,322 as shown on the resolution. Of that, $667,973 was for construction of the outdoor athletic complex.
All right, we need a motion to approve.
Moving to approve. Second.
In favor, say aye.
Aye.
On the same sign, motion passes. On new employee introduction, updates,
David, here you go. He is our new Collaborate Lab and our Collaborate Lab coordinator and outreach liaison for Division 5. He's coming to us all the way from Los Angeles, California, where he had ran a makerspace before. He has experience directly related to everything that we're doing here. He has managed help desks before. He's worked in IT as a technician and a dealer as well as a technician for a dealer of dental lab equipment. He has worked as an operations manager for a small electronics company. So very, very multifaceted, lots of different hats that he's worn. And he comes to us speaking both English, Russian. He has a little bit of Ukrainian and also some German in there as well. So we're very fortunate to have him here. In his spare time, he loves playing violin and singing in barbershop music.
David.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I was just in the barber shop and they had no music there.
It wasn't the right one.
Welcome, David.
All right, Shelby is not here today, so we'll introduce Shelby at a upcoming meeting.
Next, we have Student Government Association and Club update.
Today we have SFCC freshman Natalie Ficken.
Hi, everybody. I am the advisor for radiology organization. They just finished an SGA the homecoming week, and I think it went really well. I give kudos to Leah for being very open in communication. Our organization participated as well for King and Queen, but we had Queen candidates, which was fun because Leah said, anybody do it. Let's go. It's royalty. And they did very well. We did banner participation. So this year they did just a banner and it looked like we had a pretty good turnout. Our organization also we helped with the community cafe last fall or late winter. We have MOSRT coming up, which is in April, which is a chance for our first and second year students to go network and listen to speakers within our field and gain some education that way. We also are doing a fundraiser through Chipotle March 2nd. So if you guys get hungry from 4 to 8, order online. So, we are going to do Quiz Bowl as well. It is the same week as MOSRT in April. And we actually, our organization, our radiology whole, got our full accreditation. Well, for a whole another 8 years. Here's the report. Any questions?
Congratulations.
You guys have a great day.
Thank you. Congratulations.
All righty. Next on the agenda is the 2026 through the 2029 academic.
It's just still coming through.
What's that?
The sun is still making it through those blinds.
Good evening.
as we talked about last year, it's that time of year again where we get your approval on the academic calendar that drives the entire operations. So what as I talked about last year, wanted to bring you 3 years and have those approved, and then bring them every year, that rolling 3 years, so we can continue to look at them, make changes as necessary, but allows planning and for the entire college and so forth. So in your packet were the 3 years academic calendars. Just a little info behind it, which you all know, but I'll still state. State Fair drives the beginning, kind of sets our dates, holidays and so forth. We run through in our structure of, we kind of structure a lot of things in 4-week segments, so we can do 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12-week classes, drives a lot of our fall break and even our spring break. And then the other aspects of commencement and so forth are on here. Summertime, we have a little bit different schedule. As we know, we've also put on here the half-day Fridays for your continued approval request, and then all the interim terms. So the other thing I would make light of is, you know, our Christmas break will be shorter this year, so we may hear some things about that. Last year, it was probably as long as it possibly could be. So when you go from the longest to the shortest, because that's the way the calendar works with the state fair, where it falls, how Christmas falls, it compresses a little bit of the time off, but it's pretty typical with the other colleges and so forth. So we have shorter, especially for the staff, shorter time frame for the Christmas to New Year break. It gets a little longer each year, yearly, and until it gets to that maximum like it was last year, and then it shrinks again. That's kind of the norm. That's very normal. So I present to you the 3 years of calendars. And so with the understanding that the rolling 3-year academic calendars will be presented annually for board review and formal approval, I propose that the Board of Trustees approve the State Fair Community College academic calendars for academic year 2026 to 2027, 2027 to 2028, and 2028 to 2029 is presented here tonight.
I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Okay, do you have any discussion or questions to Murders? You can say aye.
Aye.
Fine. Passes. Dr. Bates. We have doctors everywhere, is right. All right, so next we have something that we're excited about is the campus master plan. Keith is going to make some introductions.
Well, probably met our friend. Been working now for probably a year. So, and the work, you know, this is a culmination of truly lots and lots and lots of work that has been done over the course of a year plus. These two have been very, very smoothly done. So as introduction, you all know them. I will let them take them aside.
Well, thank you for having us. We are really, truly excited. Patty, you mentioned it. We are excited to share this with the board, the finished project with everybody that helped. Several of the faces in the room we've seen and talked to and spent time. And so again, thank you for the opportunity to share a little high level about what's in the book. Hopefully you've had a chance to go through. We jokingly call it the doorstop, unless you have Keith's version, which is going to be made into a small kit version. Part of it, we were a small pocket version for as we went through this. So just another, a little bit of who we are. My name is Christine Dort. I'm a partner in charge for higher education for Hollis & Miller. My role is to really make sure that the project's successful from beginning to end. Charlie?
Charlie Vega. I'm a client leader at Hollis & Miller. Been here since the beginning of the process as well. Led the project for Hollis & Miller and was in all the engagement here with
Couple other folks that have helped us. Some of you got to meet Matt Evett. He's part of the landscape group. He was at several meetings, but we also had several other consultants that you can see on the screen that were part of this. They were just kind of the silent partners, but did a lot of work behind the scenes. So we wanted to acknowledge them for that. The other group of people that we really wanted to celebrate is this group that was that master plan executive committee. They were the individuals that met with us each time we were on campus. We took some time with them, and I would tell you that of all of the master plans we've done and that I've done personally, I really appreciated this group. And I think you'll see it in the plan, and we'll talk about it a little bit. But one of the things that was really great, that at a key moment, right as we were analyzing data, they turned to each other and they said, let's not forget about who we are as State Fair Community College. And I think you'll see that as you've looked through this, but not a lot of people do that. And so I just wanted to congratulate this group for really doing a great job of staying true to the authentic State Fair who you are, not just in what we were doing, but in the way that it was put together and in kind of the end result. And so that's an exciting piece. So thank you for each of you. That makes our job easier, and it was fun as part of this process. Mary jokingly, like, don't put that picture in there. You know, the fun parts of it and all of the fun that we had along the way. So thank you to that group. But we did want to take just a bit of a second of what is a master plan and what it is not, because this is kind of an interesting part. We're going to show you some images tonight. This is your campus as it sits today. We're going to show you some images tonight that may be surprising, and some of you may love, and other ones you're like, I'm not so sure about that. And that's okay. This is really about setting a vision and a framework for where you move forward, right? That really aligns with your mission, your vision, and it's about guiding your campus, the physical side of that campus. Academics, you just heard from Dr. Murders, and all of those are kind of planned into this, but this is really about the physical part, and it's without committing to anything that you're going to build tomorrow, right? It's just a vision. And what it is not. So this is why we like to also say, it isn't a detailed design for a specific building. It's not a facilities maintenance plan. And it's definitely not a required commitment. Like we've talked about, for instance, one of the things, and this is one of those images, right? This could be State Fair in, 10, 15 years. You see the athletic fields finished without the fence, right? As you come in right now, that's part of progress. But the thing that we talked about a lot was the idea that this is the best guess that we have today. In a week, you might get a bucket of money dropped in your lap, whether it's from a grant, whether it's from an industry partner. Those are the ones we like, right? And so they may have some interest in something that maybe doesn't quite align with the timing of the plan that we have thought right now. That's okay. But at least there's still a framework there. And that's the agility that's been built into the plan as well. So just a little bit about that. We wanted to give you an idea of what our starting point was. It was very important. We looked actually, I think Dr. Bates, you pointed up to the mission, vision, and values. That was where we started. And then we layered onto it the strategic plan, which was being done right about the same time we started. So it was very important that those 4 key strategies, initiatives that came out of the strategic plan were then interwoven into the master plan, and that's something that we take very seriously. So a little bit about our process. It was a 5-step process. It takes a little longer on this one because we kind of paused a bit for the strategic plan, but spend quite a bit of time in data collection. Several of you in the room were part of that. We'll show you a few of the planning priorities. We always go back and explore some options. And then tonight is kind of that culmination of adopting that best plan, kind of where everything ended. So we're ending our journey, at least for this part of the journey. Hopefully we continue forward with you and some of the great projects that we've got planned. But this is kind of what it was all the way through. So this was that important moment that we were actually over at Elk Rock and had a conversation about, we just collected all this data from staff, from faculty, had a little bit of student that we pulled in the end. And really we're trying to look at this and understand what it was as we pulled the data threads and the themes together of where we wanted to go with this. This is when we heard from your executive team the idea that we are our job is to really educate and help people learn, grow. And so what you see, these priorities as they line them up from the data, and you go to the next one, were really about learning environments, right? Deferred maintenance, which is taking care of what you have, of the learning environments you have, and then making them even more interesting, right? Or inclusive and comfortable. Those are some of those ADA code things. We also wanted to make sure we were looking at utilization and overall campus experience. And one of the interesting ones that we spent quite a bit of time talking about was this idea of, does State Fair have a back door? Is there a back door? And the answer is no. We actually want it to be multi-omni available. And so that was an important piece of what does that mean as we go forward? As well as we know that campus wants to continue to expand. We wanted to connect campus so that there never felt like there was kind of a far one. I reached this way only because we want to make sure we're including the farm as well as the areas down in kind of the southwest part of campus. And finally, about that welcoming front door, right? So as you look at the priorities, those were kind of the ones that came out and the way that we prioritized them as a framework that would help us start to make decisions about investments and kind of projects as we went forward. So with that in mind, we took those back and looked again at those 4 strategic plans that you see on the left side, and really then looked at what does that mean for us as we go forward, as we actually apply that information to the current campus today. And it started with 3 themes. One is the stewardship of what exists. We talked about this a lot, starting where you are, and you have some of the best bones that we've seen on a campus of your size. Really good stuff.
Buried the skill.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Sorry, I wasn't supposed to say that. We'll take that X off the plan. But really some great stuff about being really good stewards of what you own and what you have. The second is this idea of renewal and vitality. So building that momentum and continuing to be progressive, not just resting on those laurels of where you are, but where do we go to be forward? But in the end, the third one was the mindfulness of history and the respect of authenticity. Not forgetting about who State Fair was and who State Fair could continue to be. So those were kind of the 3 themes that as we looked at the vision and looked at how that would apply to campus, that really drove our decisions forward.
So dive into it a little bit. We'll just get into each of these 3 deeper, I guess. And I should have noted at the front of this that you'll see this little reference page 21. That's to the book that's in front of you. If you want to flip through, that's fine. If not, that would be understandable. But really, about deeper into this idea of stewardship. One of the first through the data collection phase was do classroom utilization analysis as well as building assessments. And what we have found that the buildings themselves are right sized to current enrollment, specifically now and to the future. They're beautiful buildings, like Christine mentioned. Good bones on campus is a good place to start. There is about we've isolated around $60 million in deferred maintenance that's needed, and urgent needs make up about half of that. So approximately $30 million of deferred maintenance were uncovered in that. That can be things from roofs, HVAC. Those 2 are on the top of the list for a reason. Building envelopes, life safety, accessibility within the buildings, furniture upgrades, so classroom modernization, making sure that we're making sure that the student expectations are met through those through deferred maintenance as well. This is a map that you can find in your book as well. It's kind of a heat map. There's a more detailed version later on in the book as well that kind of goes in depth on each of those spaces. But you can see there's some level. I mean, there is the no urgency bubble for some of the newer buildings, but there's some level of for each of these buildings and spaces. But that being said, we have great buildings on campus, and we want to make sure that with this plan, you are able to be stewards of those to make sure that those buildings are still here, because keeping them up is going to be more cost effective than replacing them in the future. So with those bones, the idea of renewal and vitality It's really about creating opportunities, in and around that to bring life to campus. One of the things that we heard, very, very heavily from everyone we talked to is that people want to be on campus, and that is not always the case. And what a great place to start the master plan from, is a place where people want to be here. So how do we bring that life to campus? So you'll see as we talk through this further, there's opportunities for projects and additions or renovations and what those might be. Those are all outlined in detail here later in the document here, but you can see some of the imagery here that what Christine mentioned before, that some of these are visions of what, campus could potentially be through those projects. This is a view of the campus quad. Hopkins there over to the left, with an addition shown on it there. But this is really showing, the campus quad with the same, tree canopy, but with the idea of some variation in the landscaping and the plantings that gives students an opportunity, students and faculty and administrators, everybody on campus, an opportunity to be on and be in campus, be there. With some options for the landscaping to open up these for, it's not to have to mow every single green space. Maybe opportunities for those to be places that maintain themselves a little easier throughout the year. And then this is a view here coming from the southwest around the south end of the pond, up toward Yater there to the right. You can see it looks a little bit different with an opening there in that facade. But just making sure that the idea of connectivity on campus is a priority. That can be both real connection, like you can see sidewalks here, as well as perceived connectivity with opening up building faces and knowing, hey, I'm not that far from the building. Look, there's the entrance. And look, there's people. And every time you're around people on a campus, you kind of feel like you're already there. So making sure that those are fostered. So like I said, we're going to kind of touch on some of these renovations and additions that are in the book. These are in great detail you have in front of you on pages 25 through 49. But some of the renovations that we're showing here are addition to the multipurpose center, Yater Learning Center refresh and renovation, the dome storage addition, Hopkins well addition. We saw kind of an image of what that could possibly look like in the future. A Stoffaker grab and go addition. As well as the CTC expansion. Well, and those are really important, I should say, projects, because they are kind of the embodiment of bringing life back into the buildings that you have. And those are going to be very, very impactful projects. But then where there are potential gaps or opportunities for new buildings where there aren't these uses or available spaces currently on campus, those are outlined again in the book, but some of those include the Ag Innovation Center, Conference Center specifically shown kind of in the quad, maintenance storage building, which will be critical to making sure that we can actually achieve a lot of this stuff very cleanly with your maintenance group at the physical plant, CDL shed, and various barns and ag use buildings, which will be important as well. As that continues to grow into those farm spaces. But we need to make sure with all of this exciting work that we're being mindful of St. Fair Community College's history, who St. Fair Community College is today, and that will allow that to progress into the future. So we want to make sure that it's honoring the stories, the materials, students have to expect here, faculty have come to expect here. I know one of the very first things that Keith mentioned to me on campus as we walked, I think with all of the other architects, as we were starting to take a look at this project, was that St. Fair Community College is a rural campus and loves it. And I think that it's a beautiful campus because of that, holding that true. And so making sure that that persists into the future and that that's a part of the vision as well. And so just taking a look at some of the images that are in the book as well. This is a view of the campus entry. This is the location of the current promenade leading just actually over here to the west. heading towards Yater Learning Center, straight ahead of you, with kind of an outreach of a mission welcome center to kind of leading out this side of the building here. And then this, it's called the dock on this image, is really just an idea of potentially leveraging these things on campus that are beautiful, but not really able to be approached in a way that's meaningful for students, and just offering that as an extension of being on campus again, and celebrating the campus as it is.
And if I can add, what was interesting, one of the things that the staff said specifically was this was an area that they came to for respite.
Yeah.
We heard that a lot through that. And so it was interesting that they brought that up. We didn't suggest it. We just said, where do you go on campus for X? And so that was something that was important. It's a feature that not a lot of campuses have, and you have it. And so can we make it even more kind of that area for respite reflection for community members as well as for your staff who are already enjoying?
Yeah, there's some surveys that are shown in detail in the kind of the appendices of the book that kind of show that we were able to actually like isolate heat maps where people really touch area on the map where they enjoy going for very specific things. So that helped a lot. Building on this as a 10-year plan, potentially, what are the next 10 years? We were able to work with the executive committee to phase the implementation of these projects. So I'm going to walk through each of the phases. There's 3 phases technically, and a 4th. We'll get to kind of the idea of that 4th phase in a little bit, but the phase 1 is really over the next 2 years, so 2026 through 2028. We'll have, you can see with this map that it's not really isolated in a single area, single target, it's spread around campus. And that's generally the case with all of these each of these phases. That is actually an important way of helping students feel served as part of the advancements happening all over campus. We'll touch each other big time campus as well. And then, so phase 2 is years 2020 through 2032, sorry. You can see that that's still spread out as well. You can see the Yater Learning Center, Hopkins, the outdoor classroom there up kind of the top of the image, and ag innovation for some of those ag buildings as well to the image at the top, which is south on campus. And then phase 3 being the 7 to 10 year, this is really kind of the projects that you can see would really put a bow on a lot of what has happened over the last 10 years. Those are kind of large, expansive projects, but they are kind of low risk, high impact projects of the campus quad renovation, that campus hub, shown with that kind of flag number 3, if you can up there around the pond. CTC expansion coming off there off to the image on the left, and to residence hall renovation as well. And when you kind of look at these holistically, you can really see that the campus is really being touched all over. There's impact throughout campus, and we feel like that's a positive thing there's a plan for the entirety of campus. And then that's not to say that there isn't projects that are unforeseen or unforeseeable at this time. So that's where that phase 4 long-term visioning allows for there to be projects that can show up that are unexpected at the moment. And the master plan outlines how to react to those possibly.
One of the things, and I'm going to flip it back is one of the things that is really great that I would say, if we go back to the summary of this, is the fact that the spread across through the different phases was really intentional. We spent quite a while kind of working through it, and we had ones in a certain group and then we move it down, and that would mean we need to move something else. But I think that the team did a really great job, and twofold is that no part of campus has to wait. Sometimes you see that in master plans, right? Is that they'll kind of do it by zone, in the fact that you might have to wait 10 years until it gets to your building or to your area. And the committee was really concerned that we wanted to be able to spread this across campus so that everybody was getting a feel for some of these new kind of additions and renovations along the way. So I would say that in summary, that was one of the really successful pieces that we were excited about, is not only that the team stayed true to who they were, but in the end, we were able to really think about that structure that would allow that to campus to build as a whole. It's not like just areas of it would pop up, but it was meant to be inclusive and really stay true and vital to who they are. One of the things that our firm does is we spend quite a bit of time working on high schools. And so we talked about this quite a bit in our conversations, that what we're hearing from students right now, we've surveyed probably about 6,000 high school students in the last 3 years. And one of the things that they're talking about are kind of what their expectations are for the next part of their life, their journey. And I will tell you that the best thing that you have is they're looking for exactly what you're giving them, which is not only the programs, the academic programs that you have on campus. You'd be amazed at the number of high schools in Kansas City that are quickly trying to develop programs that then can lock into your tech programs here. Really, really important. The other thing is the sense of community and the scale is really important. So you have this really amazing quad, you have some of these lovely amenities, the Dom, the sports fields that are coming, and the fact that you're close to the city, right, to town, that really gives them the opportunity to feel like they are part of this community, but still can get along the way and move about life without kind of feeling the burden of what it is. So I'm excited for that. Patty and I were just talking about enrollment numbers and the opportunities to just keep growing, and we see that only increasing. And so I would say to you that in summary, before we take your questions, thank you for this opportunity. This has been a really great option for us, and we're excited to see where State Fair continues to go. With that, we'll take the questions.
Before we
Sorry.
ask any questions, I want to say thank you to both of you for your work, and it's been a pleasure, and thank you for your patience with us. And I remember that first meeting when Charlie said, we're going to work hard at this. I'm not going to shave until get this project.
We'll send you a picture.
Looks what happened.
I'd be clean shaven to get the job. Yeah, it came out.
Well, and I think that you helped us to think outside the box. You know, sometimes, it's like, well, we always think money and, well, we couldn't do that. And so, the discussions and the questions that you brought to us, and not just us, I'm sure the ones that were you had with other people, helped to, to deliver all of this. But thank you, your team, for say being patient with us, but yeah, being professional, but yet listening to what we wanted and really coming back to that. It was always, what does State Fair want? What does State Fair need? I appreciate that so much. Thank you. Questions do you have?
I don't have a question. I did like master. I depend on you often observe about building what we're being considered for vision and I'm very pleased with the product work that you've done for us to consider.
If I may, one of the things that I think was really important that we talked about early on was this opportunity to make sure that this book, this doorstop, didn't truly become a doorstop. That it actually was a working document that you could reference, that the leadership team could reference, whether it was in planning or if you happen to have a new industry partner or someone from economic development stop by, that you could pull that off the shelf and gladly, easily show them what the plans are, and how they could fit in and be part of it. And so really appreciate that, Richard, in that conversation, because that for us, it's a, and it's kind of a, in the heart when, if it just becomes a dust collector. So, Dr. Faith has the two-prong version. You have the one-prong version. We made him a special version that actually has the executive summary pulled out, and it's a small piece that is easy to take on the road. And that's the piece that we hope Mary's using as well, when she's out talking with folks. But that was meant to be kind of the workhorse with all of the data behind it. You just got the kind of condensed version.
So we made copies, and you're welcome to take home and review more if you'd like to, though it's easier to look at than the digital version maybe, but we do want them back unless you want a copy of your own, and we'll make one for you. But we have ideas for these to be deployed at various places on campus to be used, like in facilities, like in the foundation, like in the president's office. So you want this to be a useful plan. I had a lot of meetings today, fortunately. This is evaluations coming up, and I'm gonna address that. But two of the meetings we referenced this master plan. So we're already using it in our planning, and we'll use it more. And so that's what it's going to be exciting to see. And the really interesting thing about this college, we've been through our history, we've been big on planning. That's why we're here. Strategic planning, campus master planning. And as I've looked at each of the previous campus master plans, we've got those done. And we're going to get this done. And have confidence in it, because that's what's different. What other questions you have? Comments? How about Jeff and Patty?
Again, thank you so much. If we were able to be on with some of the executive team to be able to have input and listen along the way. And yeah, I can see that it's a good roadmap. And while we know that some things may not be able to happen, and that price wise, you were able to, some of those numbers were also, you made them where they would have show the inflation possibility. So it's not necessarily what the price is today. So don't be bogged down by that, but
Still talking.
it's shocking, but it is, we know that that's the fact. But yeah, I just really appreciated the opportunity to work on that team, as well as then to have you all to come and be a part of the team to help us to make some good roadmap planning.
Having been involved since interviewing all the different firms, well, to your recommendation, and a good choice.
They think they ran also just to us that we built the campus up. That's been a priority, especially in the last. And so it now reminds us that our priority needs to be make sure we prioritize maintaining the physical structures we have, campus spaces for building within the college. I think that's reflective of where we need to be.
Thank you so much. I think this is now gonna.
All right, let's wrap the plan up and get ready for action. Let's recommend the Board of Trustees formally accept and approve the State Fair Community Master Plan. Long-range framework for the development of the college's physical campus and related infrastructure. Short sentence for a lot of work.
Drew,
So moved.
your second. Opportunity. Anybody have any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye. On the same sign. Motion passes. We thank you. Well, you can
I'll send you a picture tomorrow when you.
do, yeah.
And now we're gonna have champagne, right? Allison Miller. Where's the champagne?
Ready to both. Well, we can't have it, so.
Thank you so much for your.
Thank you so much.
Christine, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda, we have a position change, Dean of Student Services to Associate Vice President of Student Services. Please. And-
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much and good evening, everybody. This is a recommendation to elevate the position of Dean of Student Services to Associate Vice President of Student Services. So this is not a cosmetic title change, but about aligning the level of leadership, scope, complexity, and risk now embedded in student services. Today, the portfolio includes enrollment management, Title IX, Larry Act, FERPA compliance, behavioral intervention and crisis response, housing, accreditation-related student success oversight, and many more. These responsibilities directly impact institutional liability, retention, completion outcomes, and regulatory compliance. At peer community colleges, portfolios of this breadth are typically structured at the associate vice president level or vice president. Elevating the title clarifies executive accountability just below the vice president and ensures appropriate authority in crisis situations and when acting on behalf of the division. From a talent perspective, title matters. Associate vice president signals executive scope and wide influence. Your institutions consistently report stronger and more experienced applicant pools for AVP title roles, particularly candidates with campus leadership, compliance depth, and strategic planning experience, often without requiring disproportionate salary adjustments. This change also strengthens succession planning and organizational clarity. It establishes a clear chain of command, enhances risk management, aligns our structure with common models in complex two-year colleges. In short, the functional reality of the role has evolved into an AVP level responsibility. This recommendation formalizes that alignment and positions the college to attract, retain, and empower the caliber of leadership required for today's student services environment. Open in your question.
So, you can see we've provided with that information, so I would for the change, the position change, your second.
Second.
So now an opportunity for questions or.
Indicated why recommendation is coming to us. Also, the switch from dean, associate vice president, seems to indicate more of an administrative position that the deans are. Dean is the title we use for our program supervision, leadership, and so it would make sense to move away from that title for the role that will recognize additional responsibility.
Comments or discussion? In favor, say aye. The same sign. Motion passes. Then it looks like, yeah, stay there because. Goodness. So next we have the presidential search membership.
Okay, good evening again. So college conducting a national, open, and fair search for the 7th president of State Fair Community College. As you recall, the board previously approved entering into a partnership with the Association of Community College Trustees, better known as ACCT, to facilitate this search. We also know it is critically important for the board to have transparency and openness in all of its actions. So I'd like to begin by reviewing the draft search timeline on the table in front of you. The formation of the presidential search committee remains the first step we will accomplish here tonight, followed by the development of the presidential program. So following tonight, the next major milestone of our board, your participation in the finalization of the presidential profile, which we anticipate completing in conjunction with the April 23rd board meeting. So I highlighted that date in red on your timelines. Following approval of the profile, the college will post it on our website and accept applications through the 10th of September. The Presidential Search Committee will review and evaluate what we anticipate will be a significant pool of applicants and identify approximately 7 to 9 semifinalists. From that group, the committee will recommend 3 to 4 finalists to the Board of Trustees. Finalists will visit campus November 9th through 13th for open forums, meetings with direct reports, and interviews with the board. So this is another important date, which I highlighted in red on your draft timeline. Board deliberations and contract negotiations are planned for that very next week. So that'd be the week of November 16th. And this timeline supports a projected start date of January 1st, 2027 for our next college president.
Can I pop up there?
Yes, sir.
We talked about this agenda item and I'm gonna insert something we didn't talk about. Patty and Jeff, when we went to the ACCT Legislative Summit, met with the ACCT organization and their search person that specializes in those searches. And she shared this timeline with Patty and Jeff. And as we went through those times, that April 22nd time period, or is that first date when this committee gets together and puts together the presidential profile, and that's voted on by the board then. And as we thought about that timeline, we thought, and we knew that the board had to pick the search committee. And so if we did it, we didn't do it this meeting, and we did it in March, that would leave less than a month for that planning to occur before this, and it might complicate being able to get people that could commit to the time for that. So it's at that time, it was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have to do this at this board meeting. And, you know, this was a couple of weeks ago, this meeting occurred. And so this may seem like this came together as a surprise, and we hadn't talked about it very much, but that's the reason why, is because we really didn't realize until at that time that this was a critical decision to be made, and it needed to be made at this board meeting.
And then
I
just,
wanted to apologize. It seems like it's a rush.
I just might add too, that, you know, as far as what we have, the witness in the way of a document. So those are our notes on the first page that you see, kind of goes along. So what they actually gave us, what you'll see on the back side, the first page, and then the second page, that is what they gave us. And then the information here, we have put that together. Kind of,
The tabbed information is notes that we took from that meeting.
so that, you know, it helped us to how do we do this or whatever. So I wanted to know, ACCT didn't necessarily prepare the first page. But yes, they did. We just then took their guidelines and then added our information. Okay.
Sorry to interrupt you, Scott.
No problem at all. Thank you so much. So to support the board in assembling a strong and representative committee, prepared a proposed slate of candidates, which you'll find attached to the agenda, or I've actually printed and placed it in front of you as well. ACCT provided a draft composition matrix, which is attached to the board agenda, which served as a foundation for developing this proposed structure. So additionally, in consultation with our legal counsel, I developed a selection process designed to ensure fairness, transparency, and equitable opportunity for participation. To that end, I requested that each association president, that's from the classified staff, the professional staff, and the faculty association, submit 4 nominees for consideration for you to choose from. Each association president was provided with evaluation criteria by me, which included things such as the ability to commit to the time constraint, the time requirements of this committee, ability and respect among their peers, institutional knowledge, collaborative and constructive communication skill, commitment to confidentiality, and absence of conflicts of interest. Using these criteria, nominees are submitted for board consideration. Note that these recommendations are not my personal selections or Dr. Bates or any administrators here or any one person. They represent nominations from our college governance structure. There has been considerable interest, enthusiasm across the campus to serve on this important role and on this committee. And we sincerely appreciate every individual who expressed willingness to participate. However, based on ACCT's recommendation, an effective search committee should be limited to between approximately 12 to 15 members to maintain efficiency and functionality. So the organization which I propose to you is structured with 2 trustees on it, 2 administrators, 2 faculty members, 2 professional staff members, 2 classified staff members, 2 community members, and 3 ex officio non-voting members. And that totals to 15 members. To assist you in evaluating a well-balanced and diverse committee composition, the attached spreadsheet includes each nominee's job title, department, employment classification, alumni status, adjusted service date to account for any breaks in service to the college, and current participation on institutional committees and councils or board. I'll pause briefly if the board would like additional time to review the documents which are prepared for you before we start the voting process.
So you probably had a chance, I hope, to have seen this. So do we need to approve this one before we vote today? You know, the actual, so we have some things like once candidates are approved by, well, I guess that would be after that. That we have to, in case somebody can't be, so maybe I guess that is. We would do this first, okay?
Okay, gotta set the committee.
Let the committee and then we'll approve. The actual,
Question is on the committee, or do we the timeline? Don't think the timeline would require a vote. Richard, it's a draft timeline. They're open to, some changes. We have to change it to our calendar, something like that. And, if we have a aggressive timeline to meet the college's calendar, for instance, they originally scheduled to be here when MCCA fall conference was going on. So to avoid that conflict, that date was moved, but that calendar is still flexible, except probably those we need to know very soon if we're going to change it. Well, we've actually told the groups that they need to plan for these times, so we should change those. So.
You open anything?
What?
It says formally appoint the members of the presidential search. I feel like appointment of these individuals is why we need to wait till afterwards. Is my opinion.
So tell us how we're going to do this then, maybe as far as how we're actually going to do the voting.
Yes, ma'am. Great question. So the voting process, to refine the list to 2 representatives from each constituency. Process will be as follows. So I'll read the nominees from each category. Each trustee may cast up to 2 votes per category. So that's for administrators, faculty, classified staff, professional staff. Voting will be conducted by a show of hands. The 2 nominees receiving the highest number of votes in each category will be appointed to the committee. Lisa was going to help me tally the votes. Thank you so much. I'd like to also emphasize that selection or non-selection is in no way a reflection on performance, qualifications, or character of the college employees and community members. Our objective is to create a committee that is diverse, representative, and appropriately sized to function effectively. If the board's ready, we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, by a show of hands and limiting to 2 votes per trustee for each category, who'd like to see the following candidates served on the presidential search committee? First up is Mr. Keith Acuff.
Get on. It was 6.
Well, I'm doing it by board member.
Oh, you are. You know, fancy.
Really don't know why.
Next up, Mr. Eric Raymer. Next up, Mary Troiner. Allison Brosh. All right.
Ethan.
Mary. Okay, next we'll go to the faculty. First up is William Ivy. Next is Jennifer Norton. Next is Sherry Harrington. And Amy Biggerstaff. Okay. Voting reflects Jennifer Norton and Amy Biggerstaff from the Faculty Association. Next is professional staff, Jeremy Lehman, Brad Hagedorn, Holly Grape, Christy Woolery. The classified staff, Courtney Moon, Cass Fitzpatrick, Allie Martin, and Cortland Sanders. Thank you. We'll move on to community members. First up is Mr. Glenn Nelson. Steve Shiner. Sonny Broyles. Mason Myers. and Lauren Teal Payne.
So that's.
Lynn. And for ex officio, the murders.
Those we get here.
Well,
Only 3 people, so narrowed down pretty good.
we don't, yeah, officio there, yeah, they're.
I was ready to helm one.
Only vote them off the island.
It's doing.
Okay, so. I have, Sarah Troiner, Jennifer Norton, Amy Biggerstaff, Brad Hagedorn, Mitzi Woolery, Cass Fitzpatrick, Portland Sanders, Will Nelson, and Lauren Till.
And I will also then make the announcement that, as far as who the board of trustees will be myself, and Justin Hubbs.
Anything else, Scott?
For sure. I don't know if we need a.
Yeah. And we have to. So on the agenda, so we have the one thing that we want to make note of is that once candidates are approved, it is further recommended for motion to substitute candidates for this committee as extenuating circumstances arise. The approval of the president. Oh, somebody might, I mean, because we know that the members, have to be contacted and the others do as well. So, so we have that included in our motion. So I would entertain a motion for the Presidential Search Committee membership. I so move. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor, say aye. Oh, same sign. So the agenda is by a 2026 increased budget authority.
I'm gonna see a couple of budget authority requests here. We also had one last meeting. Based on financial performance year to date, which is essentially the second semester is done. With that, it's a fairly, I'm very comfortable with projections for year end. It's very probable that we will have a positive revenue variance of probably about 1.5 million this year based upon the increased enrollment that we've had and a few other things that have gone our way. We have some things we need done on campus. No time, we should take, recommend we take that money and spend it to get ahead of next year and then get some things done. So I'll talk to you a little bit about that. Let's go through each of these and you go. So first one, there's 2 different budget authority items because I wanted you to know what they're for. So the first one is due to the positive budget variance to date and forecast for the remainder of FY26. The recommended the Board of Trustees approve an FY26 budget authority increase of not to exceed $450,000 be used for one-time non-recurring athletic, academic, or facilities maintenance purchases as approved by the President and Vice President for Finance and Administration. A little note to that, we've already identified 250,000 of these at our ELT meeting. We know we've got some other substantial maintenance projects coming up that will take up the rest of it likely, but that's what the first budget authority is to be used for.
Approved.
So moved.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Same sign, motion passes.
The next is a budget authority for the infill of our new esports arena, which we're moving forward with. That's later in the agenda, but again, due to the positive budget variance to date and forecast for the remainder of FY26, it is recommended the Board of Trustees approve an FY26 budget authority increase of not to exceed $315,000 for the innovation and infill of the esports arena in the Freddie Davis Multipurpose Center. And there's the use of that coming up. So with last month, 450 You know, 450 here is 900, this three, about 1.2, 1.3 million total in budget authority for the year. I still think that gives us that gives us still a positive variance, but there's things we can get done with this. So, so on this one, 315,000 budget variance here.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Questions, discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those same sign. Motion passes.
All right, let's go spend it.
To do that,
The next one is we'll talk about what the bids are for the Davis Multipurpose Center Esports renovation. The first one is for the renovation of HVAC units and controls. The project is built into the HVAC system and everything else. The HVAC system is probably the most elaborate, I should say, of going in there because of the heat generated in this particular sport. They're in closed quarters. So we had done a unit earlier. We had approved one and not sure why I even had those specs, but in the end, we didn't get that one because new specs came in that we needed a much more heftier unit. We needed a lot more controls and we needed our VAV boxes to work and get the everything to the right spot. So the HVAC is a critical part of this. So it's recommended the Board of Trustees accept the bid from Train US Inc. of Lenexa, Kansas, in conjunction with Apex Mechanical Spring of Sedalia Mo for the purchase and installation of one 25-ton President unitary rooftop AC unit, including controls, ductwork, and actually VAV boxes in the amount of $108,075 for the esports renovation infill. This consists of $65,945 for the AC unit and controls, and then another $42,130 for all of the ductwork and installation of the unit by Apex. AC unit pricing is based on Omni and Partners Cooperative Purchasing State contract. This modifies the November 2025 quote of $27,598. And we got upgraded specifications for the space and all included associated installations. Funding is the additional budget authority we just approved.
entertain a motion to approve.
Moved.
Second,
Second.
questions or discussion?
Note that the MPC units are all kind of. This area would be replaced anyway, and it does cover some other parts of the multi-purpose center.
I don't know if you recall a couple months ago, we actually approved two additional AC units for the MPC over the booster area and some of the other rooms. So we are getting those gradually upgraded. This will go a long way with that. Next one.
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All same sign, motion passes.
Second half of this is after we get the AC is actually infilling and building out the actual facility, the rooms. This includes quite a bit of electric work. It includes busting through some cinder block walls. It includes some fairly fun, if that's right word, lighting in there. And some very strong acoustical noise dampening ceiling tiles and wall tiles to keep it's going to be a dark room, no noise, with a lot of cold air and a lot of powering these esports gaming machines. So with that, we had brought in bids for this. And so it's recommended the Board of Trustees accept the base bid for Marshall Island Construction LLC of Sedalia, Missouri, the amount of $195,000 for the esports arena infill in the Davis Multi-Purpose Center. There were two alternates that were not accepted. There were actually two bids. We did get two bids on this. This was the lowest of the bid that you see in there. And then the alternates, one was an upgrade to the lighting package, which we felt the base one was really good. Another one was changing the raceways a little bit on the electrical, which really wasn't doing anything other than aesthetics for us. So we did not do those. So anyway, further recommended the board authorize the president and vice president of finance administration to execute the required contracts with Marshall Island Construction for the timely completion of the esports arena.
Entertain a motion. Second,
Second.
Questions or discussion?
There no design work into this, or I'm responsible for that?
The only design, well, part of the design work is the lighting. Part of the design work is black ceiling tiles. There, Jacob has a graffiti artist that he is gonna contract with that will do some painting on the walls that are kind of a neon, I don't know, painting that he contracted for. And that's why you get a little extra money than these two added together.
I want to add there, one other part of the project that I think is exciting, but it's a minor part of the project is card access to the one side of the center. This will allow us to open the multi-purpose center for student use and student engagement activities. It's really going to allow us to use NPC at other times. So I'm excited about that. And also there is maybe some opportunities to shave this down when we work with the general contractor as we engage with them. So he has a meeting set up with the general contractor soon. It's this maximum amount that maybe it was kind of designed with money is no object, and we know money is an object. So for opportunities to save where we can.
Time frame, I mean, it feels about 90 days once we get going, so it's not gonna take a lot of time.
So will this be upstairs?
Upstairs, you go up,
Same thing.
well, it was the OT, it was our OTA room.
Oh, hygiene.
Hygiene room,
The west of the clinic.
yeah. So with
Esports, but do they have big equipment? I know we have an elevator, but
no, the equipment's the big things you have, your chairs are very, very, very expensive, and the gaming consoles themselves are expensive. And then everything they do to essentially isolate themselves as they're doing the gaming, so that there is nothing distracting their concentration, for lack of a better term. That's why literally when they game, the room is effectively dark. And so they have, like I said, the ceiling tiles are sound absorbing black ceiling tiles that, I mean, those are not, nothing was cheap. Yes, the issue there is to absorb the sound, not let sound go, sound baffles in the walls. Some really, really cool painting in there, really cool lighting for them. And there's two rooms. One is the gaming arena. There's actually 3 rooms being built out. One is a room probably about size of this is the gaming arena where they pretty much play the tournaments. I mean, play a tournament, there's typically five team members playing. They have another room which is larger than this, which is where they practice. On all that. And then there's in the middle, which was, I guess it was kind of a janitorial closet, but it's going to be where Jake's going to have his office. Then he will have windows cut out from that so he can see both directions on that. They may at some point put a camera in there and then put a big monitor outside the room so you could watch the event, that way. So anyway, it's gonna be good. The guys doing the renovation are excited to do it. I mean, if they don't get to do it's fun for them.
And we have a chance, we're gonna offer the state championships in e-gaming, not in that room, but it'll be in the gym floor. But that room and the design for it was a big part of them proving up for it as our commitment to esports and leaders in it. So
any other questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
Next up is our CDL training pad architect approval. One of the things we are doing with some remaining both sales funds is putting in a CDL training pad on the kind of the south side of the property. And this was, we sent RFQs out to 3 architecture firms. 2 of them responded, and then we had one that had the win for this. So it's recommended the Board of Trustees approve the selection of Robert Rawlings Architects LLC for the architectural services to include but not limited to concepting, planning, engineering, electrical and civil design, construction documents and construction administration for the proposed construction of a CDL pad for SFCC's Commercial Driving Academy. Professional fees for these services is $79,000. 3 proposals were let, 2 bids were received. Robert Williams was selected. Yeah, he was the lowest price and the best choice. It is further recommended the President, Vice President of Finance Administration be authorized to sign any all agreements with Robert Williams Architects for the project. And for those access necessary to carry out the terms of the agreement. Funding source is State of Missouri Low Sales 5 funds. The total project cost is approximately $1.4 million.
Would entertain a motion to approve. Second. Any discussion or questions? All in favor, say aye. The same sign. Motion passes.
Next is an item that has been a long time coming. And we put together this sale documents for the fire station property. It was given to the fire district. They have looked over the documents and they have approved the documents. Well, they are ready to move forward, so we can move forward. So there's steps to what we have to do to make this happen. So first step is this month, it's recommended the Board of Trustees approve the sale of State Fair Community College real property that has been determined to be no longer needed by the college and is thus deemed surplus property. For policy and regulation 3380, it is recommended that the Board of Trustees sell the real property at 1608 Clarendon Road, Sedalia Mo, to the Pettis County Fire Protection District. Pending agreement from the district, which we have gotten yesterday, a formal agreement concerning the proposed transaction will be scheduled for approval by the board at the March 2026 meeting. We also have to, once you approve this, we have to put a notice in the paper, alerting the community that we will be selling that parcel of land to the fire district.
That only have to be published once.
Twice, 2 weeks. So we have that all ready. You saw some of that in there. So we're ready to go.
All right.
You deem it surplus.
I would entertain a motion to
So moved.
second.
And
Yes.
they negotiate the price.
No, we set the price of $10.
Should be.
And they're paying our legal fee
Of course, the required contract requires a certified check.
Gonna cost them more.
For $9 after the $1.
You know, one
Oh, yeah.
check.
We're not losing, but.
But once this is done, then we'll get with the landman title and have some scheduled for closing probably in the month of April.
In favor, say aye. Same sign, motion passes.
This is a agreement we're making with a third party to help us with some of our stuff. I was gonna let Dr. Murders explain to you what this is, and then I'll ask for your approval after that.
Well, re-up education is a service that we would be requesting, and their specialty is to actually go out and work the stop outs. Those students who have hours but have been away from us enrolling in school for typically a year. And so their whole goal is to go out, provide, do data analytics on the data that we provide them of these students, do some specialty communication with them, and then coach and mentor them to get them back into State Fair Community College in order to earn some type of credential. So again, we can receive them as completers. So it's a goal. It's not necessarily a retention goal because they fell out of our retention possibility, but it's to regain them and then complete them. So it raises our completion rate, viability, and all those things. So this company, it's Keith will explain much better than I will, but it is a performance based. So the onus is on them to the better job they do, the more they earn, but the more we receive as well, those students that we are not getting now. So it actually takes service away from some of our navigators and missions, so we can focus on the retention and other strategies that we're working on, allow them to start this process. And we have a plan. This is not a permanent thing, but a 5 to 7 year plan. And we will work to incorporate that back into our future processes so we can take care of ourselves. But this is to allow us to go capture large numbers in a fairly reasonable time over that 5 year span.
Well, the way this will work is, as you see, they basically are compensated on 35% of the tuition that they bring back to us that we would not otherwise receive. Pretty straightforward in that sense. The performance date is as of census date. So that's when they start to measure. And basically, anything we get here is to our benefit. These are students they've been out for how long?
A year,
A year,
at least a
or-
year,
or
up
more.
to multiple years.
So these are ones that are very, we have very low success getting them back. They have the systems and the callings and the contacts in place too. They are very comfortable. They can get us, I forget the exact number they say, but it's a substantial amount.
The first year was 158 head count. And second year was 184, and then it starts to go down because they've hit that's kind of the peak, and then it goes down to, and that's their goal based upon their numbers, their modeling. And just to add to that, there are two community colleges using it here, Mineral area and Jefferco. And they both great success. If we've talked about it before, I hate to say it, but they're both Aspen nominees not because of that, but for their attention and their completion, which are big factors in it. This is also one of their things they did for completion and regaining those students back.
So it's recommended the Board of Trustees accept the agreement for Re-Up Education, Inc. of Austin, Texas, for the purpose of enrolling stop-outs. The agreement is for a term of 5 years. For their services, Re-Up will be compensated at 35% of the college's net tuition revenue for the re-enrolled students. So for instance, if we gave a scholarship to a student, they would just get the net tuition that we get. Okay. Started recommended that the board authorize the Vice President of Finance Administration to sign the agreement. Re-Up.
Entertain a motion to approve.
So. Second.
Any questions or discussions?
Can they spell your name right?
I noticed that too.
Did they do it wrong in there? You guys caught something I didn't.
Is there a downside to this? I mean, it seems like everything would be positive, so.
I guess the downside is it doesn't work, and we've spent time and effort giving the students names and that type of thing, but
It's all based upon we give them data. It's all who they bring back to us is identified, and we only pay for those it's in between the two of us that they.
It almost sounds too good to be true.
and they've done, this is their business. They're a private equity business. They are on, I think, round 3 of investment in it. And they've learned how to talk to the former students without sounding pushy or mean or any of those things.
That's what I was looking at, was if in turn we start receiving complaints.
We've not heard from the colleges here that haven't, and they don't, because they know if that happens, they've done a lot of work on perfecting their scripts, I guess is the right term.
There's only so long that they have to work with us. So their contract is about as much as they can squeeze the lemon to get the juice type thing, because after that, they've gotten all they can. So their model is to continue going to schools, prove this, go to other schools.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Entertain a motion to approve. Favor, I'm sorry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Sign. We already had the motion, the second, sorry. All righty.
Next, new set are 26-27 room and board rates. If you looked at the attachment I gave you, what I want you to recognize is we are trying to minimize the increase in our rates this year. Both on the board side and the room side. I want to give credit to Great Western for working on this, because they had a 9% increase in their labor this year, with the minimum wage going from $13.50 or whatever it was to $15. So, and actually labor is a larger percent of their cost than food is. So they to their credit, they worked with us to keep their rates, and I'll get this to you next month. We're actually just financing to only a 3% increase with that happening. Both with the inflation of food costs, as well as the change in that. So I give them credit for working with this. Also on the board side, we really took up on the campus housing complex, we took up the primary room, which is 160 4-bedroom suites by $50. The 3,200 is actually what was recommended to us for this back in 2021 when we brought in the consultant. So, you know, we're within what they said we could do. Some of the these accessible units and other 2-bed units the same. We did up the single bed rate quite a bit, because the differential for a $37 room versus a $3,500 room for 2-bedroom was such that we had a large demand for the 1-bedrooms. And so we raised that to 45, and we still think we'll probably have demand. There's only 4 of them, demand for that. You see the residence hall, same thing, $50 increase is all we're doing. So basically each of the complexes, we increase rates by $50. That's 1.6% in the complex and 2.8%, so less than CPI. And then the plans, the same thing. We're actually taking the 19 mil plan up by $50, which is 2.5%. That's actually less than their price going up 3%, but if we keep everybody in the door, we'll be fine. And then the 10 mil plan going up by $25 at 1.4%. So goal here was to keep the room and board rates as low as, increase as low as we could, given some of the other increases we had. So with that said, it's recommended the Board of Trustees approve the room and board rates for FY27 as follows. The residence hall double occupancy 1,850, and then single occupancy double that is 3,700. The housing complex 4-bed units, there's 160 beds in these 4-bedroom units. The letters are the layout of the room, but that will go up to 3,200. The 4-bed unit, the accessible units, there are 8 beds that are accessible, 3,400. That stays the same. The 2-bed units, which are in high demand as well, we'll keep that the same at 3,500, and then the single rooms at 4,500. Board meal plans, and the 19 meal plan for 2,050, and the 10 meal dining plan for 1,875. Like you on those rates.
So moved.
Your second?
Second.
Questions or discussion?
Good question. If we have high demand for single bed, we also have high demand for 2-bed, why did we not raise the one for 2-bed, but we did significantly the 1-bed?
We honestly, it was just a judgment call of trying to keep them reasonable. 2-bed still, still get 2 people in it. We could have done that. Honestly, I made a judgment call just to not increase it if we didn't have to. That's simple.
Fair enough.
And next year we can work with that.
Say aye. Same sign. Passes. Thank you so much. Looks like we're ready for our president's report.
We usually start on the meeting that we're having birthday cake. In this case today, we're having cupcakes. Recognize birthdays, and we forgot to do that. So we have a lot of February birthdays. Dr. Murder's birthday was yesterday, and Justin's birthday was February 19th. And Keith's birthday was February 11th, and Jolene's birthday was the 5th. And Richard's birthday, we're gonna throw him in with February birthdays because his birthday is March 1st. So let's join in a chorus of happy birthday to you, led by Mary Joyner. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dr. All right, we knew this was going to be a long meeting. We actually took several agenda items and moved them to next month, again down the road. So appreciate, and we did the imperfect report. So appreciate your participation in the meeting today. Calendar review. You do have calendars in front of you, and gotta find mine. There it is. So I want to call it February 25th to the games last night. We had two exciting region basketball games. They were the final home games of the season. Our women's basketball team won by 50 points. And it was an exciting 50-point win. But our men's basketball team down by I think a point with a minute left. So they came from behind and won the game by 6 going away. It's been since 2016 that we've beaten. We beat them twice this year. And it's 2016 since we've beaten at least every member of our region at least once. And this year we beat every member of our region at least once. And it's been since 2016 since we had a bye to the play-in game to our region championship. This year, our team's ranked 3rd in the region. They received the first round bye. Get in. So excited. The women have only 1 loss for the season. They're the #1 seed. The women's teams have they play their games at the highest seeds. And so I guess that's all of them, both of them. Anyway, the women are going to play all their games here. If they lose, they're out. So, and the men's team starts their first round against 3 Rivers at 3 Rivers. And so those games are on here. I think they're in blue. The 3 Rivers game is March 5th. And the men's basketball championship is March 7th. The women's game is March 10th. Their first game, that will be here. Fred. The person will be the team we're playing be announced at 6 p.m. though. So we want to have a huge crowd there to root on. And then their championship is on March 13th. Then it is pretty certain that the women are going to make it to the national tournament, even if they lose the region championship as an at-large team at least. And that national tournament is March 20, starts March, that first game actually, they will play on March 24th, likely, at McNeese State University in Lake Charles, Louisiana. And at this point in time, I plan on being there. So that'll be
Like a
and then the men's team, they have a good shot to go. They can beat anybody. Everybody's scared to play them. And the men's championship, March 1st through 28th at Hutchinson, Kansas. And so it'll be exciting to see. All right. So good things going on there. Right tomorrow, we have the CDE, which stands for Career Development Event for Agriculture, and the Tech Expo for Misty's division. And that's all day tomorrow. The CDE event for agriculture had 400 RSVPs. So, word's getting out about our ag program. You might have seen the nice news coverage this morning in the paper about the FFA soil contest prep that occurred on our farm. There were 6 pits dug out there, and I think 30 FFA out there learning how to evaluate soil, not only for agriculture purposes, but for septic systems and engineering and things like that. So that was a great event.
The amount of people that watch our farm, and I got a text, why are they digging out?
I think maybe a member of the board called me about, or maybe it was Mary. It was Mary. Did you? Yeah.
Not everyone.
Get the calls too.
Yeah. Eyes everywhere, I guess.
All right. So Monday, we have our legislative office events. Richard and Patty are signed up to do that. If others want to join us, they may. But we have 13 appointments scheduled on Monday. We're leaving at 7:15 a.m. please bring a granola bar. Bring a granola bar.
Was rearranged, so now you have an hour and a half, well, an hour and 15 minutes.
Well, we got, ladies and gentlemen, we also know how. I am gonna bring it.
We schedule most of our, we're not gonna have time for lunch. We schedule most of our legislators, but not all, and really prioritized some key legislators. We prioritized our Jefferson City legislators because of our plans to build that advanced manufacturing programming in Jefferson City. So we need to alert them about that. It was part of MOEX sales. It didn't make it, but we may be seeking funding from them in the future, or we just want to make sure that they knew of that. That also, we have an appointment with Representative Jeff Rennetti from Camdenton. And he contacted me. He and some developers would like to talk to State Fair Community College about some construction programming, construction management, or building trades programming down at the lake. And so we're gonna work that discussion into this this meeting. Those developers are gonna be at the meeting. Us and Representative Bernetti, and then the rest of the same old spiel going on. We do have a meeting with Willard Haley, who has sponsored the bill to allow the Associate in Applied Science degree to be used for teacher certification and licensure. That bill received another hearing in the House Education Committee, as there were some amendments made. Willard characterizes, routine hearing. I haven't heard how it went. At least it's scheduled meetings, but I'm sure that's fine. But we're going to talk to Willard. So that's on Monday, and then theater production next week, 4th through the 8th. Shining Lights. If you'd like tickets, you can order them online, but you have to pay for them. So Lisa can get you free tickets if you want to go. Give her a call. And then there's the music. The music concerts are the 10th and the 12th. So that's just a couple of weeks away. Then spring break is here in the middle of the month. We don't have times for spring break, but we're going to take it anyway. And I also, again, want to alert you to the Foundation Gala. Invitations should have been in your mailbox. Please turn those in to Mary. We'd love to have you all there. It's the best party in Sedalia. And we're looking forward to that. And it's important. We emphasize this to our leadership team. It's important for college leaders to make a presence at these events we're asking for college. And then finally, on April 17th, we've scheduled a ribbon cutting for our new Clinical Sciences Health Center. And the ribbon cutting is 12 to 1 with an open house in the afternoon. So we would like you involved in that ribbon cutting. So I wanted to call that to your attention so you could get on your calendars if you can, if it's possible for you to make it to that. Hopefully it'll be clear weather and we can do it outside. All right, questions on the calendar? Legislative visits already handled. See, filing deadline, you all should have received an email from the Missouri Ethics Commission or a letter from them about your mandatory retirement.
It has to be done by May 1.
Yeah, so you can still sign in and do the report. Just I'll give. Well, let's see. Have your do your candidate.
Oh, yeah, I did it already.
Oh, candidacy already.
Yeah, I did it already.
Lisa sent one. I thought it was strange that they wanted me to do the same form I'd already done.
You have to do it every year. I mean, I know.
But we just filed ours.
That's true, so you may.
You're fine. You're probably okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure you guys aren't in the binder. So May 1st is the deadline. And Mary, would you give us a quick update from the foundation's quarterly meeting?
Dr. Bass doesn't ask me to do this very often, so as you all know, we have quarterly meetings. Justin Hubb sits on as our liaison from the Board of Trustees, but something must have been very impactful to Dr. Bates for me.
Well, I did tell you to say one thing that I wanted.
What was so impressive to him is in February, we asked our portfolio manager, Sam Rathman from Central Trust, to come and give our yearly review. And what was very impressive to him, but I want to say this before I say this out loud, he was telling us multiple times not to get comfortable with this, but our endowment that we have with them in our portfolio is a little over $27 million, and the return on our yearly is 26%. To get comfortable with that, but it was exciting to have on a yearly report. So, but as we all know, that we are taking risk any day and any time.
About meeting that next year.
Yes, exactly. So Sam,
Various performance.
I know, I was gonna say, good.
right, so that's the highlight of what happened in the February quarter.
And I bet you're wondering what this is. Right, Mr. Roadrunner. Let me read you a letter explaining what this is. Dear, excuse me, dear President Bates, I want to sincerely thank you for awarding me the Presidential Academic Scholarship. It is a tremendous honor, and I am incredibly grateful for the opportunity it has given me. The support makes a meaningful difference in my ability to focus on my education and continue working towards my goals. As a small token of appreciation, I created a light box featuring the State Fair Roadrunner logo through my business, Lumen 3D. Designing and building projects like this is something I am passionate about. I wanted to share something I made as a way of saying thank you. Let me know how much I appreciate. Please know how much I appreciate the investment the college has made in me through the scholarship. It truly does have an impact. Wishing you all the best in your retirement. Sincerely, Parker Brown. So Parker is a freshman at State College.
Yeah.
Ready for it.
Right, that's right.
I'll get some glue.
I'm sorry, I picked it up.
You're not supposed to take it off.
Like a pencil.
It wasn't good to come off the sand.
Parker is a Smith Cotton High School graduate, and so a fine kid with a very bright future ahead, but he has a business. And there is a whatever those things are right now. Code on the back if you would like a link to his Facebook page.
Officially licensed.
Did we give him permission?
Our
Did you approve that, Sam?
logo isn't trademark, so.
We are not trademarker. But I do think it would be great to one spell.
Down that path.
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
I don't know, but he was adamant it was.
that's my report.
All right. Any questions for Dr.? All right, Keith, looks like we're ready for a financial report for informational purposes only.
Mentioned earlier, when we look at the additional budget authority that our financials right now are very positive. You can look at that on here. Even though we've been spent some money already, you'll see that the bottom where the general revenues and expenditures significantly ahead of last year. Which I actually I expect to be about like last year. So this gives me even more confidence that the budget authority we're doing is easily what we need to be doing. So everything on here, our expenses are right in line with what we expect them to be. Our revenues are a good bit ahead of where we would be this, versus budget. So anyway, a long way of saying continue to be on very sound footing financially.
Much, Keith.
And one thing I want to point out, if you look at particularly the local property taxes this year, they've shown, but they're actually up 5% over last year. So people are paying them this year. There were some reassessments done, things like that. So that the thought of did the senior tax credit gonna have a big impact? This was when it goes to the credit. We saw it wasn't much to begin with, and what we got from the counties. This would reiterate that it's not that big of an issue right now. Now it compounds over the years, but when people do sell their homes, then it gets steps up for whoever buys their home next. Anyway, just thought I'd share that with you. I feel very good about where we are financially. Few 10,000 to 25,000 purchases done. You'll see 2 Aero stage lines, bus rentals that you're gonna keep seeing that. Aero still is our best bet over Masters, who we used last year. Apex Mechanical, 10,000 in HVAC repair. And BATS Communication with putting in some of our internet and cabling and all that at the nursing renovation for 21,000. So that's the financial report. Any questions from anybody?
What are the HVAC repair this time?
Who knows?
I heard there's a bunch of sweating going on in the Heckert.
Well, they're sweating there because, okay, so Heckert is run by a chiller. They have boilers and chillers. We have to turn the boilers off, chillers on. So this time of year is always difficult because it's not like your AC and we can bring the chillers on, but then the boilers are taken down if it gets cold again. So this is a weird time of year to try, and to your point, and we know that we're trying to figure out what we can do, but in the base.
You up at 20 degrees and you leave at 7.
I'm not saying.
What I hear.
I've been here my whole life.
Here's what I would say, if anyone's building, I probably would not put in a chiller pipe system. But they did, and we have it. And we've spent a whole bunch of money the last 5 years making it work. So, but you're right, this is a weird time of year right now.
On the agenda is board discussion, items listed. Has anything to add? On there with the ACCT Legislative Summit, yeah, and were able to attend with Dr. Bates. And we also had our AEL Director April Godwin. And as she thinks that we have a student go with us as well. So kind of telling a little bit about her story, she was able to share, and I think really made an impact to maybe honored her because she shared that get her GED, got married, left home. Her mother was drug addict, left home, the age of 15, maybe at 16, got married years later, had some more children, but that she then tried to get her GED, but it was always difficult because she's having to work and try to provide for a family and take care of a family. So it was through many attempts that she was finally able to get her GED through Warrensburg. And so now our program, thank you, our program at Warrensburg. She is right now then taking even courses to become, because she's the assistant director at the preschool or daycare where she is, but she's working because apparently the person who is the director is saying, let's think about, whenever I'm then going out and maybe you can take over. But yeah, her story was very impactful to hear her share her story. We were glad that they were able to go and we got a thank you. Gosh, that's in my purse in my car. That was from April Godwin. Who thanked us for the opportunity. Yeah, really. Yeah. So, but there was a thank you that April then said she appreciates so much the opportunity to be able to go with us, have the opportunity to share then it's see those legislators in action, and then they're to be there with a student. So I apologize. I'll get brought back. Trying to figure out how to get in here without all the stuff, and then I apologize. I'm gonna let you, Jeff, so want to share.
Felt well received and heard by at least the two that we got to meet with. And the general sessions were also formative, a mix of both optimism and pessimism about the current political climate. Good to keep our name top of mind, just to be in front of the spiritual leaders, and they'll root for us when the time comes. And of course, very fast paced. We were in and out.
So that's about we won't get lunch because the day on the hill, granola bar for breakfast. I could have done something different and didn't think we were leaving pretty early, so I just did the granola bar. And so we get to the hill, and at 3 o'clock, eventually we found a place to eat. And then we didn't get to eat again until we get to the airport because we're coming home, and got in home at 3 a.m. or well, I guess I got home at 3 a.m. in the morning. But so I know that there's not always time for a meal. So bring another granola bar. But that was not all. Dr. Bates is. Where you just have to walk if you've ever been there. That's just, you know,
Everything's just
they're in.
fast paced. It's bustle.
Yes. Sometimes you hurry, you wait, and to see a representative, but. Anything you'd like to add?
Jeff, did you have any more?
All right, the next is president's evaluation. Justin, are you lead to
I
tell
can
us?
take the lead on that, yeah. So with that being said, if you've ever been in a meeting or owed compensation for not getting a lunch from Dr. Bates, please let me know. Just kidding. No 360 this year on this. That's an every other year plan. So it'll just be the board doing the evaluation, setting the goals on that. I think that's extremely important, even though he's choosing to fire us this year. I still want to set those goals to not only finish the year, but start the next expectation of the next president, whose shoes are going to, or it's going to be tough to fill this guy's shoes. So, but I want to get that done. So if you guys can start putting some thoughts and actions to some goals to bring to the next board meeting, I would appreciate that. And then I'll partner with Scott and we'll get that executed from that aspect. It's March board meeting sufficient to get those goals to deliver April. Is that right?
Take your time, take your time.
Absolutely not. So we will get that executed, but if I'll send reminders out too, to make sure you have your goals done and make that happen this year.
Okay, thank you.
I do have a sample evaluation instrument.
Oh, okay. Scott's already got the form loaded, but if you want to share it with Scott, okay, and kind of compare it, and I'll let you take the lead on that. Is that good?
Yeah, that's
You can share it with me, that's fine. He's the one that has to load it into Vector for me to input all the information anyway.
that's fine. Fine, I worked great.
All right, and then next we have the Dom Museum Acquisition Committee. And so Richard, would share with us what you know.
The artwork in the there is a Dom Museum Acquisitions Committee that purchases the items the was in the Dom Museum. It has funding available it's in the foundation, it's where it's money is kept, but to purchase artwork. When the committee approves the acquisition, the committee then donates the title to the artwork goes to the foundation. Then the foundation presents the list of art to be correct for inclusion in the collection to the board of trustees who we're required to accept as the gift to complete the transaction. When the acquisitions committee met, we approved November, we had approved the purchase of nice pieces. This February, we began and approved the purchase of some nice pieces as well as a very interesting collection that will help the collection just have those resources in the collection. So there's no action that the board needs to take now, but when it comes, take a look at it. We'll be able to share more information of what's involved. Very nice pieces being added to the collection.
Well, it's always good to know what's happening over at the Dom as well.
Can I interrupt for just a second?
Okay,
So because of the quarterly meetings and for the foundation, we don't present what that collection exception is until our May quarterly meeting, so you won't see it on your board packets until June.
Okay. Anything else for board discussion? Well, there's lots of things on here, so it looks like we need to fill our calendar up with a lot of activities if things are ahead for us. So looks like next on the agenda is we have board meeting dates for 26, 27.
We'd like to recommend to the board a schedule of meeting dates between July and of 26 and June of 27. We'd like to do it now, so we have some changes to make in the normal schedule, so y'all can put it on your calendars and so I'll call your attention to the highlighted items in the agenda item. The retreat, the board retreat, where we commence planning for the next fiscal year's budget and activities. We're proposing that date as Thursday, July 23rd. That is a regular board meeting date. So instead of having a July board meeting, plan to have a retreat starting at 4:30 p.m. and continuing on through whenever we get done. And if there is personnel reports that we need to take care of, we can accommodate that by having an executive session at the end of that work session. So that are just and then in October, proposed moving that date to October 20th due to a conflict with the ACCT fall conference. So that's not the name of that. Leadership Institute. And then in November, there's a conflict with Thanksgiving, so we're proposing that board meeting be moved up a week to November 19th. And then finally, there's a conflict with Christmas in December. So we're gonna have that meeting on my birthday. So that's the calendar, and
All right,
questions, let me know.
so we'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
sorry, now any discussion or? See? All right, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Passes. So our next meeting for the Board of Trustees General Session will be held Thursday, March the 26th, 2026. At 5:30 here in the Hopkins boardroom, so be sure that's on your calendar.
There may be a work session, we haven't decided yet, but that's a big meeting where we approve the tuition rate and employee remuneration. And so usually to set the context of that meeting, we have that probably would start at 4:45, something like that.
So let's see. So next on the agenda is the request for going into closed session. And then looking then even in further in the agenda, when we come out of closed session, there will be no more discussion. So we will adjourn the meeting. So I would entertain a motion to go into closed session for hiring, firing, disciplining, or promotion of personnel pursuant to RSMO section 6100.021.
So moved.
Second.
Neighbor Shears,
Yes.
Yes.
Justin Hobbs,
Yes.
Page. Perfect.
Yep.
Yes. The murders, Keith and Scott. That's the day. Thank you all very, very much. Looks like we better have a cupcake to celebrate all those February birthdays and